I don't know about y'all, but I'm worn out. But what a great way to get our blood going, huh? All right. Well, now what I'd like for us to do is to have the national anthem. And before we get started, this national anthem is going to be led by the McKinney 7. And the guys that are involved in this are David McWhirter from McKinney High School, Stephen Nams from McKinney North High School, Joe Tompkins from McKinney Boyd High School. Come on, let's hear it from, all right. John Nurge from Evans Middle School, Jared Crutchfield from Fabian Middle School, and then another one from Fabian, Brian Beck from Fabian Middle School, and then Dustin Taylor from Finch Elementary. And so we will have them lead us in the national anthem here in a minute.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Good morning. I'm Lynn Sperry, President of the McKinney School Board. Welcome to the 2011-2012 school year. I bring greetings from all the school board members. We hope that you've had a good summer and that you're refreshed and ready to go. We are looking forward to a much more positive school year than last. Hopefully, we'll be able to concentrate on students and what is best for them and their education. From the MISD School Board, please know that we support you in all your work and we strive to provide you with the tools and the facilities to do your job. We appreciate all that you do each day for our students, and we know that your job is not always an easy one. We salute you as McKinney's best, and we hope that you have a good and rewarding school year.
They said you wouldn't make it so far, and ever since they said it, it's been hard. But never mind the nights you had to cry, 'cause you had never let it go inside. You worked real hard, and you know exactly what you want and need. So believe, and you can never give up. You can reach your goals. Just talk to your soul and say, I can.
The day when I send all my doubts and demons on their way. Every endeavor I have made ever is coming into play, is here and now today. This is the moment me this moment, this precious chance. I'll gather up my past and make some sense at last. This is the moment when all I've done, all of the dreaming, scheming and screaming become one. This is the day, see it sparkle and shine, when all I've lived for becomes mine. For all these years I faced the world alone, and now the time has come to prove to them I made it on my own. This is the moment, my final test. Destiny beckoned, I never reckoned, second best. I won't look down, I must not fall. This is the moment, the sweetest moment of them all. This is the moment, forget all the odds. This day or never, I'll sing forever with the gods. When I look back, I will always recall, moment for moment, this was the moment, the greatest moment of them
Michael, thank you so much. This is Michael Williams. He's a senior at McKinney Boyd High School. Michael, thank you. And I want to also recognize the band performed by McKinney High School. And they were also the ones that surprised us with that flash dance here this morning. Also would like to recognize John Nurge, no, excuse me, let me see, I've lost my place. Oh, the choir director who also works with Michael Williams is Melissa Pedden from McKinney Boyd. Also, Shara Berry is the dance instructor for McKinney North High School. What a great dance performance that was. You know, this past year was a very trying experience for all of us as we faced the budget cuts that we had to make and the personnel cuts. What I'm here to say today is I can go on record that we will not be making any more layoffs or personnel cuts for reduction in force this next year, okay? That is behind us. And I want to tell you, I can't tell you enough how fortunate we are to have the school board that we have here in this district. They truly are looking out for what's in the best interest of the students of this district. And at this time, I'd like to have the board members for the McKinney Board of Trustees to please stand, please. Unfortunately, we have two that are not able to be here today, but Curtis Rippey, our Vice President, and Lynn Sperry, our President. But they do wish us well and wish us the best. Also, I'd like to recognize our Cabinet, and I want to tell you, and also the central office staff that work behind the scenes. They're about half of them now from what there used to be, but I look for them to please stand, and if you would, let's recognize you that work in the central office and the cabinet, please. We're going to have to get by with less, but one thing that we are blessed with is technology. And you know, last year I put up this cell phone and I said, let's make sure we open up technology to our students and to our instruction, and make sure that we use it in an appropriate manner. Well, I am here to say that we are unveiling, thanks to WillowTree. They are a company that designs apps for universities. We are the very first public school to use WillowTree to develop a phone app. And we are here to unveil it today. And it's going to be the best phone app around for public schools. There's some other public schools that have released their apps, but basically all they are is a little directory. I mean, that's basically it. This actually accesses student information. This will be a very valuable tool for our parents and for our students. And we now have a little video to show to help you see just what are some of the features of the McKinney ISD. MISD Go is the name of it. MISD Go phone app.
About a year ago, we began to explore new and better ways of communicating with our parents and students. Take a newsletter mailed to parents, for example. The cost of printing and mailing a publication to all parents in McKinney ISD runs us between $15,000 and $20,000. And there are other issues. Publications often have a very short lifespan. They're expensive, and in many cases they aren't even read. Most of the information is on our website anyway, and we can provide it to those who don't have access if necessary. In an effort to be more efficient with our resources, we decided to eliminate a few of these publications and shift these funds to something that provides real-time news and information. We already provide a lot of this on our website, but it was time for us to provide it to your smartphones. Now, if you're like me, you spend as much time on your phone as you do on your computer, and so do our parents and students. And if our mission is to engage both students and parents in the learning process, we felt this would be a great tool to help us accomplish that goal. So today, I would like to take this opportunity to introduce to you McKinney ISD's very own mobile application. We like to call it MISD Go, and we believe it is the most comprehensive school district app in the country. Let's take a look at it. Let's say you'd like to know what your daughter is going to eat for lunch tomorrow. Click on the app, go to Dining, and you can view the elementary, middle, and high school breakfast and lunch menus. You can also check menus for programs like Head Start and the Little Messages Preschool. You can even view the snacks to be offered at Club 360 that afternoon. Let's say you're interested in catching up on the latest district news. Click on News and scroll through the latest headlines. If you find a press release that you really like, you can even forward it to your friends and family. Want to know when the next high school musical or middle school band concert will be held? Simply click on the Fine Arts icon and view a District Fine Arts event calendar. Okay, we know high school sports are huge in Texas, and McKinney is no exception. MISD Go allows you to get the latest scores and game updates from your favorite schools. You can check scores for football games, baseball, volleyball, soccer, and just about any other high school or middle school sport in the district. Did you know that employment is the second most visited page on the McKinney ISD website? So, when we designed the app, we made sure to include all the McKinney ISD job openings so that you can stay current on opportunities throughout the district. Need a map or contact information for a school? Don't worry, just click on the map icon to get directions and information on any campus in McKinney ISD. We've even provided a link to each school's website. Now, there's no need to manually dial the school's phone number. If you click on the phone number, it will call the campus directly. Okay, so checking football scores and lunch menus is pretty cool. But we know that what our parents really want is immediate access to their child's grades, progress reports, attendance, lunch account balances, and more. Many of you are familiar with McKinney ISD's Online Home Access Center, or HAC, which our secondary parents already use to check this type of student information. Essentially, we wanted to take the power of HAC and deliver it to parents and students through their smartphones. Making this happen was a sensitive and complicated process, but after several months of work and the help of a lot of really smart people, it worked. Parents and students can use the same login and password they use for HAC and now use their phones to check grades, progress reports, attendance, and other critical student information. This particular function will be available for secondary students at this time, but don't worry, elementary will be next. This is just a sample of what you can do with MISD Go, and we will be developing new tools in the coming months. MISD Go is not only going to save the district a lot of money in printing costs, we'll be able to provide better information to you, our students, and parents. Most importantly, you have the power to access what you want when you want it. As you can probably already tell, we're pretty excited about the new app, and we hope you are too. Oh, and in case you were wondering, the app is free and available for download on the iPhone, Android, and BlackBerry. In fact, we invite you to visit the website mckinneyisd.net/MISDGo. That's mckinneyisd.net/MISDGo and download the app today. I'd like to thank you for your support of students in McKinney ISD, and we look forward to announcing other exciting innovations in the very near future.
And I did this last week. I downloaded or uploaded, I never know the difference, but anyway, from my iPhone, from the Apple Store, I picked up a MISD Go, and I did it in a matter of about 1 minute. So it's there, it's available. We have it available with through the Apple App Store. We also have it through Android Store. Right now, BlackBerry, unfortunately, that's not completely accurate. We ran into some glitches, but they say that it'll be available to BlackBerry by the end of this month. So those of you that still have BlackBerries, you'll have it by the end of the month. And you know most of our board members, but one that really I need to introduce, especially today, because he's our newest board member, is Bobby Amick. Bobby, would you please stand? And I made that BlackBerry statement specifically for Bobby. One thing that I really feel like we need to do as I look back and reflect on our district and where we are is we've got to really make sure that we have focused on our core business. And one thing though, before I start doing that, I apologize. I meant to recognize two people that really spent a lot of work, and I don't want to not fail to mention them because they did a lot of work on developing this phone app. And again, it's the most powerful phone app, I think, anywhere in the nation for public schools in K through 12. And that is Greg Grimes and Carlo Terlisi. If you are here, please stand. Let's recognize you. Willow Tree had no idea how complicated public schools are. They thought universities were hard. They quoted us a quote, and we held them to it. They couldn't charge us any more than what we paid, but they had no idea how complicated this is. And so we got a bargain from this, but Carlo and Greg spent countless hours interacting with them, figuring out how we can integrate our food service technology, our sports software, our student information software. It took countless hours. But as we do that, the thing that I was saying earlier, we really have got to focus on our core business. In my opinion, our core business is maximizing learning opportunities for students. That's it. We are here to create an environment where we are maximizing student learning. That should be what we're all about. We have spent a lot of time planning things, and sometimes I think we have drifted away from our core business, and I think it's hurt us as far as academic achievement. We had a book study this summer with Mike Schmoker's 2 books, Results Now and Focus. And I think it helped us focus in on what are the key components that we need to focus on in this upcoming year. That doesn't mean we have abandoned WOW or engaging lessons. No, that's a critical component of lesson design. It's a critical component of maximizing learning opportunities. So I want to make sure you clearly understand that by focusing on our core business doesn't mean we're abandoning quality instruction or quality techniques that we need to use on a day-to-day basis. But I want to reinforce, and I think City Slickers sort of says this better than just about anybody. And I'm a movie buff, by the way. I like to watch movies, and I think you can get a lot from the stories you see from different movies. Sometimes you don't get a whole lot, but I do think you get something from this one clip from City Slickers.
Cowboy leads a different kind of life when they were cowboys. They're a dying breed. Still means something to me, though. A couple of days, they'll move this herd across the river, driving through the valley. Oh, there's nothing like bringing in a herd.
See, now that's great. Your life makes sense to you. What's so funny?
You city folk, you worry about a lot of shit, don't you? Yeah.
My wife basically told me she doesn't want me around.
Is she a redhead?
Well, I'm just saying.
How old are you? 38.
39.
Yeah. You all come off here about the same age, same problems. Spend about 50 weeks a year getting knots in your rope, and then you think 2 weeks up here will time for you. None of you get it. Do you know what the secret of life is?
No, what?
This.
Your finger?
One thing. Just one thing. You stick to that and everything else don't mean.
That's great, but what's the one thing?
That's what you gotta figure out.
And as I said, I think our one thing is maximizing student learning. That's what we should all be about. As we do our planning, as we do our work, we need to ask that question. If things are being put upon you, you may need to ask your administrator, how does this relate to our one thing? And that administrator better be able to tell you how that relates to our one thing. Because we need to really focus in as much as we can on instruction and learning. One thing that I've noticed is how many of you tried to teach your son how to bat? Let's see, how many of you have gone out there and tried to teach your son how to bat? You know, at first, when you first start teaching your son, a lot of times you use a T-ball. And you put that ball on there and they try to swing it, and sometimes they hit the post and it falls down. Sometimes they actually hit the sucker. But then after that, you can't, if they really are going to be a batter and if they really are going to play baseball, they've got to go beyond that, and you've got to start throwing the ball to them. And when I was when I was in Allen, Jay Davis was my assistant principal, and I was the principal, and we had a baseball team. Both our boys were the same age. And as we were coaching, we were coaching that. He was the head coach, I was the assistant. But he was wanting me to help as far as pitching the ball to the players. Well, I quickly fired myself because I couldn't pitch it where they hit it. I mean, I could do it every now and then, but not on a consistent basis. You as teachers have got to find a way to pitch it where they can hit it. It's critical. But you also don't continue to just lob the soft ones. You want to make it a little harder. You want to make it a little faster. You want to start varying the pitches. You want to challenge them to grow and develop. And that's what our job is as educators, is to help all of our students grow and develop to reach their maximum potential. And one thing that I really challenge us to do is to make sure that we are closing that achievement gap. There's no reason why our students from low economic backgrounds aren't achieving better than the state average. There's no reason why our students from low SES backgrounds are not achieving as well as our top performers or our students that are happen to be blessed with higher income homes. And I think that Jaime Escalante really captures that in the movie Stand and Deliver. Let's watch Jaime as he's in a conference with other teachers and the principal.
Look, we have the remainder of the year before we're put on probation. Now, if we fail, we'll lose our accreditation.
If we fail, you can't teach logarithms to illiterates. Look, these kids come to us with barely a 7th grade education. Now, there isn't a teacher in this room who isn't doing everything he possibly can.
I'm not. I could teach more.
I'm sure Mr. Escalante has good intentions, but he's only been here a few months.
Students will rise to the level of expectation, Senor Molina.
All right, what do you need, Mr. Escalante?
Ganas. That's all we need is ganas.
What's ganas?
We will begin each class with a quiz. There will be no free rides, no excuses. You already have 2 strikes against you. There are some people in this world who will assume that you know less than you do because of your name and your complexion. But math is the great equalizer. When you go for a job, the person giving you that job will not want to hear your problems, and neither do I. You're going to work harder than you ever worked before. And the only thing I ask from you is ganas, desire, a haircut. If you don't have the ganas, I will give it to you because I'm an expert.
He cared about his kids, therefore he was hard. If you don't care about your students, you're not going to challenge them, you're not going to push them. You're going to just sort of make do to get by so that the day can be as peaceful as possible. But I challenge you to challenge your kids. Challenge those students that are struggling and make sure that you're doing everything you can to see that those kids are successful. I probably told this story last year, and I'll try not to say this again, but this teacher was inspiring to me. When I was a principal in Allen at Vaughn Elementary, there was a teacher, 2nd grade teacher named Nisha Simpkins. And what Nisha did is there wasn't a single kid that didn't leave her classroom without knowing how to read. She never gave up on them. She did whatever it took. She spent countless hours. She did parent visits. This lady was phenomenal. And I'm not saying that all of you have the time and energy to do that, but you need to do everything you can to see to it that your kids are successful. That's our moral obligation. It's my moral obligation as superintendent of schools to try to create an environment where kids are learning and where learning is maximized. And that carries down to the principals, that carries down to you as teachers. It's our moral obligation to do that. And I want to conclude with a clip from Mr. Holland's opus, because I think that in this particular clip, it epitomizes reteaching, the value of reteaching. It epitomizes the value of creating a strong relationship, the value of humor. And what we're going to see is a band director who wasn't going to give up on a kid.
Mr. Holland?
You're late. And you left your clarinet here the other day.
Yeah, if you know anyone who wants it. Well, I'm giving up the clarinet. I'm just goofing everybody else up anyway. So, I just wanted to say thanks. Thanks for trying.
Is it any fun?
I wanted it to be.
You know what we've been doing wrong, Miss Lang? we've been playing the notes on the page.
Well, what else is there to play?
Well, there's a lot more to music than notes on a page. These guys, for example. Now, they can't sing, and they have absolutely no harmonic sense, and they're playing the same 3 chords over and over again. And I love it. Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why?
I don't know.
Yeah, you do.
Because it's fun?
That's right. Because playing music is supposed to be fun. It's about heart. It's about feelings and moving people and something beautiful and being alive. And it's not about notes on a page. I could teach you notes on a page. I can't teach you that other stuff. Do me a favor. Pick up your clarinet and play with me.
Okay.
And this time, no music.
Oh, what?
Because you already know it. It's already in your head and your fingers and your heart. You just don't trust yourself to know that. Okay. Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's do it again. And this time, not so much lip on the mouthpiece.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh.
All right, no, don't do that. Let me ask you a question.
What?
When you look in the mirror, what do you like best about yourself?
My hair?
Why?
My father always says that it reminds him of a sunset.
Play the sunset. Close your eyes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't stop playing.
That's what we're about, isn't it? Maximizing learning, providing opportunities to learn and grow, to form those relationships. You know, Carla has put together just a phenomenal video that sort of reinforces why we're here and why we do this. And it's a video that says, kids, say the funniest things.
La, la, la. Are teachers cool?
I guess. Well, to me they are, but other people, some people don't like school. Maybe. Yes. They're so awesome. Yeah, some could be cool, funny, awesome.
I think some try to be, and that ruins the actual effect that they're trying to give.
Some of them are cool, some of them try to be cool and they're not. And then some of them don't try and they are.
Whatever, la la la, it doesn't matter. What makes a teacher cool?
The thing about teachers is they're really, really smart. So they know lots of things.
Like if there's a math problem you need help with, they'll help you, and they can help you with anything.
Well, I think to speak for most kids, if you hand out candy, it'll be on their favorite list for a fact.
Some teacher will teach you stuff like a normal teacher, and some will teach you stuff like a rocking teacher, like Mr. Young.
They have name tags. That makes them so cool. And I can see their name. If I forgot their name.
What makes a teacher uncool?
They get mad or they take your stickers. Giving us too much homework.
Make you do lots of math papers. That's the bad thing.
Math. Why?
Why?
And you say you don't understand, and then they'll just say it louder. And then you say you still don't understand, they just say it louder, and you never get it.
Monotone voice.
They're monotone.
Monotone voices, that always gets all of us. I mean, that's the one thing we talk about the most.
No personality, just walk in, get out your notebooks, write down, the warm-up question or do a warm-up problem, then read off a PowerPoint the whole class period.
And all you do is busy work and watch PowerPoints. That's like extremely not fun.
What do principals do all day?
Ooh. They walk around rooms and make sure the teachers are doing the right thing. To be the principal.
Well, what's the principal do?
Do a job.
I think she just does the announcements and does her thing. I think she does her thing.
Go on lunch breaks.
Some of them have iPhones and they'll play Angry Birds or stuff like that.
It's on Facebook all day.
And if kids get in trouble, the teachers send them to the principal and the principal does stuff.
Who is the superintendent of McKinney ISD?
I don't know about superintendent. What does that even mean? I don't know what that means.
Oh, I know his name. What's his name? What's his name?
It starts with Mr.
Yeah, I do. It's,
Superintendent Gorman. I think his name's like Cody. I know it's a doctor. You're always a doctor. Isn't it Dave?
Martin Luther King Jr.?
He's actually named after a famous president.
Well, I know like 5 presidents, so that's not gonna help me whatsoever.
Obama? Abraham Lincoln? George Washington?
My sister calls him JT, I think.
How about Dr. J.D. Kennedy?
Dr. J.D. Kennedy. Dr. J.D. Kennedy. I know him. Goofball. Okay.
How much money does a teacher make in 1 year?
I'm pretty sure they get a lot. 25? 100.
Maybe 150.
2,500.
Somewhere over $1,000. 25,000.
I think they get $1,000 for all the good work.
What do you think, Landon?
$100. Some bosses don't give them that much. Some do give them a lot.
They're not rolling in the dough, but hopefully it's
because they love it. You know, it doesn't matter how much, I guess.
What students love about teachers.
They're really smart. I can't lie, they're really smart.
She always gives me hugs. She just loves me. She always played games with us. But she always wears her hair in a little bun. And I like that. It's like all poofy and stuff. And she makes us laugh lots of times. Sometimes we play magic number. It's so fun.
The way she always asked us the questions. She didn't stand there and just say, this is right and this is why. We always got to ask questions and ask, why is it like that and why is it like this?
She had a relationship with students. It just seemed like she wasn't just there to teach. It was almost like she was there to be your friend, but guide you through things instead of just teaching.
Some of them gave me a better understanding for things. Some of them put things into perspective. Some of them humbled me.
For me, it's you know when someone, when their smile reaches their eyes, or when they hug you and they mean it, and when they just talk to you and look at you in the eye because they just care.
Good teacher just teaches you what you need to learn, and you hopefully get commended on tax. But a great teacher really changes who you are as a person. They're nice to me, and they're nice to everybody else.
I do like teachers.
I think my favorite is where they said the smile reaches their eyes. You know, it's just so neat to have that opportunity to work with these students. We've got great kids, don't we? What we're going to do now is have someone talk about the power of people, the power of relationships, because that is critical, I think. And the one that we have coming is someone that's a dear friend of mine, someone that I've known ever since we got our doctorate together at, I like to say East Texas State University, because I never will admit that the Aggies took it over, but they did. It's now Texas A&M Commerce. But Dr. Deborah Estes is a former high school teacher, middle school principal, and curriculum public relations director. She graduated from Texas A&M University Commerce with a doctorate in educational administration. She's also held the position of senior consultant for Region 10 Education Service Center, providing administrative training to principals and central office staff. Dr. Estes offers a variety of training in the areas of leadership and making effective presentations. Her primary interest is in the areas of brain research and how this knowledge can directly impact our lives as educators, and even more significantly, as human beings. Dr. Estes is known for her warmth, humor, and ability to involve everyone in the fun of learning. Since 1995, she has worked with education entities, law firms, corporations, and medical health care teams throughout the United States as both a consultant, facilitator, and conference keynote speaker. And it's my pleasure at this time to introduce to you Dr. Deborah Estes.
My name is Debbie Estes. I graduated from college in December a few years ago. When you graduate in December with an education degree, what do you get to be? How many of you were ever a substitute teacher? Let me see your hands. Some people don't like it. I loved it. And the reason I did is because you still have control of your life at that point. When they call you to come in, you can say, oh, I'm so sorry. I've made other plans. The man that I was sleeping with at that time was my husband, and he decided that that should not be a profession for the rest of my life, and he helped me get a job at a small rural school district up in North Central County, S&S. Well, what they don't tell you is if you graduate with a broad field business education degree and you go into a small rural high school, you do not go in as the high school business teacher. You go in as the business department. I taught 6 different preps. I was the yearbook editor, the newspaper editor, and the junior class sponsor. I did so well at everything that was assigned me that first year that the next year they made me student council sponsor. I don't want to brag on myself, but there are not too many people in this room that can lay claim to the fact that you were a master teacher by the 3rd year of your career, but I was. Now, no one told me I was, but I figured it out for myself. I was so good that by the 3rd year, they named me cheerleader sponsor. In fact, I don't want to keep bragging, but the last year that I was in the classroom, I was named concession stand coordinator for all the district. My superintendent came to me and he said, Debbie, why don't you go back to school and get your mid-management certification and we'll make you a principal. Well, I've been working really hard for 8 years and I needed a fluff-off job, so I thought, hey, I'll do that. So what I'm supposed to do, I'm supposed to go all year long, all this summer, all the next school year and the next summer, and I was get all my work out of the way. And during that time, I was going to be an administrative intern. Wonderful concept. I was going to shadow the principals in that little small district and learn how to be a principal. Well, 1 week before school started, my superintendent up and changed his mind. And he said, we're just going to name you middle school principal. Well, what that meant, I was going to leave the high school faculty, travel 7 miles over to the west to the elementary and middle school faculty. And I don't want to be rude, but we high school teachers, we often feel sorry for you middle school and elementary teachers. Because we know if you guys had been smarter, you'd been a high school teacher. You know, so I'm traveling, you know, out of my sphere, and first day on the job, I'm in the foyer, or the foyer, however you'd like to say that word, of the elementary school, because that's where the gymnasium is attached. 75% of our population are coming in on school buses. My job as the new middle school principal is to stand there and get the 8th graders down to the 1st graders into the gymnasium to wait for the starting up of school. You know what I'm talking about? You kind of get that? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Over here, I'm to get the kindergartners with their teachers. Remember my background. There is nothing wrong with kindergartners. It's their mothers. I have never seen all the carrying on in all of my life. The whole time that this is happening, there's this little boy pulling at my skirt. I do not have time for the individual child at that moment, and I have to wait till there's a stoppage in the flow of traffic, and eventually that came about. And I looked down at this child and I said, honey, could I help you? He looked up at me with shaggy blonde hair, and I believe there are times in your life when you will do and say things that no one ever taught you to do or say, sort of like a spiritual experience. And I can remember I left being a teacher and I became a principal in a moment of time. As I looked down at this child, and he's up here with shaggy blonde hair, big old blue eyes, and honest to goodness, this is exactly what he said. He said, lady, would you get the boogers out of my nose? I had been teaching 8 years, and no one had ever asked me that question. And without a pause, I looked down at that child and I said, honey, go tell your teacher. So I've been a principal. In fact, that's how I learned how to teach, hanging out with my middle school and elementary teacher friends who are fabulous teachers. I absolutely love what I do. In fact, after this morning, I'm going to be hitting up Dr. Kennedy for a job in McKinney because you guys are having a blast. I mean, how much fun is this? I mean, you get to dance and somebody gets to join. They weren't even supposed to be on the stage. I saw them. They just come up and I said, man, I'm here, you know. I am here. How awesome. Would you all stand up? Would you look around at somebody in front of you or in back of you that you haven't had a chance to talk to and say, hey, it is so good to see you. So good to see you. I love you. Thank you. You may be seated. I want to talk to you just a few minutes about people and the power of people. When I started thinking about how powerful people can be, I was reminded of a place up in Seattle, Washington. It's called Pike Fish Market. How many of you have ever seen Pike Fish Market? Well, these kids have become millionaires simply because they live from a philosophy of throwing that smelly old crummy fish around. They can include people into the fun of what they're doing. And so I'm going to take a little bit of their philosophy and talk about it and then add a little bit to it. But Stephen London was the man who was the person who filmed the fish market. And I heard him speak some 10, 12 years ago, and he's a very interesting gentleman, and he grew up in Minnesota. And he said that whenever he was in high school and college, he served as a camp counselor for a camp called Camp Courage. And in this camp were very highly disabled children, a lot of children in wheelchairs. He said it was a wonderful, wonderful experience. He said the freshman year, his summer year before his freshman year in college, he said he had a kid in his cabin, and his nickname was Beaver. And he said, oh my gosh, he said this kid was exceptional, just brimming with leadership ability. And he was in a wheelchair, cerebral palsy, and he got a petition up with all the kids in wheelchairs, and the petition was that those children wanted to go on a hike that the traditional child got to go on through the forest. They didn't want to have to take the wheelchair lane. They wanted somebody to take them on a real hike. So a lot of these strapping little counselors got body bags, and they put these kids in body bags, and they took them on a real hike, about 45 minutes. Oh, it was the talk of the camp. When the parents came back, that's all the kids could talk about. We got to go on a hike that the traditional kid got to go on. It was just fabulous. It was such a wonderful experience for everybody. Oh, Stephen London said he couldn't wait till the next year, and he was hoping Beaver would be in his cabin. So he got there, and he looked over his roster, and Beaver wasn't in his cabin, so he went to look for him, because he said this kid was phenomenal. He looked all over the camp for him, couldn't find him. Found out that Beaver had passed away that year. Stephen London said something that pierced my heart. He said, life is too precious to be just passing through. Life is too precious to be just passing through. Sometimes we get in such a hurry doing what we do that we forget that we're living life. And what this group of people make up and what they mean to the children of McKinney is phenomenal. And we need to be the best group of people there can be. We need to live that life. So I want to talk to you about some of the aspects maybe we want to focus on. The first one, I think it's very important that we know that what our job is very serious, but I think we do it in a lighthearted way. I want to give you a statement, and then I want you to turn to a neighbor, and I want you to talk about the statement. What do you think about it? And this is the statement. I want to make sure I get it right. I'm going to read my little notes here. Lightheartedness is found in any healthy workplace. So would you take a moment? I just want you to talk to your neighbor. What do you think about that statement? Lightheartedness is found in any healthy workplace. Take a moment. All right, thank you. So what are we talking about when we talk about lightheartedness? I have to fly a lot to get to the places that I go. And one airline that I fly entirely when I'm in Texas is Southwest. I think Herb Keller has done a wonderful job with that airline. I have made a decision that I do not need to know where the exit doors are on a plane. I've made that personal decision. And so, because I've decided that if a plane that I'm on starts going down, I'm going to stab myself with a plastic fork. I've already, in my throat, I've already made that decision because I don't want to be there at the end. I've made that decision. So whenever the airline attendants are saying, you know, these are the, I'm not listening anymore. You know, I'm visiting or I'm reading or I'm doing whatever I need to do because it doesn't apply to me. Until the other day, I was on Southwest Airlines and the airline attendant said, there may be 50 ways to leave your lover, but there's only 4 ways out of this plane. Everybody in the plane, it was hilarious. We all knew where the doors were. Why? Because having a little fun, I was up in Cape Cod area and I could kick myself for not buying this sign. It was on a weather-beaten old piece of wood and it said, what if the hokey pokey really is what it's all about? Think about that one. You know, just having a little fun. And I can't believe I'm using another Southwest Airlines story, but this is something really funny that happened. I thought, this is what I want. This is the kind of place I want to work. I had gone to Israel this summer for a wonderful trip, and we were on a different airline, and we had a 16-hour flight from Israel over to Philadelphia. Well, in Philadelphia, we had a little bit of a problem, a glitch, and we had a layover that was a little extended. Then we got on the plane again, and we're flying to Dallas-Fort Worth. Now, there are people on the Dallas-Fort Worth flight that are flying on somewhere else, okay? Big plane. The airline attendant gets on and said, we're almost to DFW. We're running late. She says, there's some people on this plane that have got a connecting flight that they're going to miss. Would y'all all stay seated and let the people that are getting on the connecting flight get out first? Have you been there? You're not going to stay in that seat because you think they're lying. You know, everybody stands up like she didn't say a word. You know, nobody gets off early. You know, and I mean, it's hilarious. Well, then, I'm flying in, and we are flying into Dallas on Southwest, and we were a little late. There are people on the Dallas flight that have to get to El Paso. And it's running a little late. This happened within a 2-week span. This is the reason it's so vivid in my mind. The Southwest airline gets on, she says, there are 18 people on this plane that are going to miss their flight if they don't hurry and get off. Now, that would have been enough right there for me. She said, would you 18 people raise your hand? So you're all looking around to see who the 18 people are. Then, get this. She said, when they get up, you start cheering. When they pass your row, because you know how it is when you're about to miss a flight. You're anxious, you're sweating, you're mad. You know, when they pass your row, you cheer them on. When those people were going, you can do it! El Paso! It was hilarious. That whole plane was wrong. And then we all looked at each other, didn't we do good? Oh my gosh! I'd never been so excited about somebody getting to El Paso in all of my life. And I was so excited. It's just having a little fun. And as the year progresses, and we get a little stressed, because that happens to everybody, just remember, just kind of calm down a little bit. Say, you know, let's make it a little bit more lighthearted. So I want you to turn to the person that you didn't turn to a while ago. So that means you're going to have to turn to somebody different. And I want you to tell them real quickly, explain, what would be the benefits of working in a lighthearted environment? Very quickly, turn to somebody different. What would be the benefits? Thank you. Thank you. By the way, be sure and tell the person you were talking to you had a good time if you did. If you did. So the first principle of people power is to be lighthearted, to make sure that you instill that in your daily life. The second, wouldn't it be awesome if everybody in this room, McKinney ISD, if we all woke up on the same morning and our focus that day was make someone's day? Can you imagine what would happen if 100% of the people in this room got up with the focus on the same day of, I'm going to make someone's day today? Oh my gosh. Kaizen, that was the word that just, it's a Chinese word or Japanese word, I can't remember exactly, that says increasing what we do 100,000% just because of a little bitty fragment. That's what would happen in this district if we all operated on that premise. You know, I work in California. California is kind of weird, and the people are a little bit, you know, different. And they get away with things that Texans don't get away with. And I was working in Tracy Unified School District, and I was in my rent car, and I was going back to the airport, and Tracy Unified School District had rented a big billboard that absolutely made my day. It said, "We've upped our standards, now up yours." That made my day. I thought, oh my gosh, I wish we could get away with that. Just made my day. And then I was working in Chicago, in a little suburb of Chicago, and they had asked me to come in and work with high school teachers after the noon hour until 4 o'clock. I got there early, and it was a closed campus, and so I didn't have anything to do, and all the kids were milling around during the lunch hour. So I thought, well, I don't have anything to do. So I took my legal pad, and I said, I'll just interview kids. And I asked them, I said, are there any outstanding teachers in this building? And I interviewed several kids, and one kid said, oh, yes, Miss Nowinski. And I said, why is Miss Nowinski great? She said, because she teaches Algebra 2, and she thinks none of our questions are stupid. And she tries to answer all of our questions. I thought, that'd be outstanding. Then I looked over, and sitting against the wall all by himself was a little kid that I could tell by the way he was dressed that he wasn't the student body president. Okay? Had a lot of leather, a few spikes. So I went over to him, I said, honey, can you tell me, are there any outstanding teachers in this school? He said, no. So I turned around, and then he realized, hey, she's asking me a sincere question. He said, wait, there is. And I said, who might that be? He said, Mr. Poy. And I said, why is Mr. Poy an outstanding teacher? He said, because every time he sees me in the hallway, he calls me by name. Sometimes making someone's day is simply making their moment. When we acknowledge our children, there are some children that we teach that if we're not going to acknowledge them, they won't be acknowledged by an adult. But we're there to validate each and every child, not only that comes into our classroom, but the child that's out in the hallway. And if you know their name and you're not their teacher, oh, that even makes it even better. But making someone's day, living by that philosophy is pretty cool. Now, I noticed when Dr. Kennedy was up and I was talking to Tricia, I was sitting back there with Tricia, and bless his heart, he was up there, and then he'd remember he forgot 2 people. That he forgot, you know, right in the middle of what he was doing, he needed to introduce 2 people over here. And I told Tricia, I said, you know, he's random. Bless his heart, he's random. And so I was making, you know, but the reason I understood that is because I'm random too. And my GPS, most of the time, when it's talking to me out loud, it says, at the next turn, make a U-turn. It's kind of programmed for that. Well, and so I happen to land of all places in El Paso. And I'm landing there, I'm working with El Paso schools. I'm working with actually one of the school districts outside of El Paso. And Eric, the little van driver, well, I used to have a secretary that used to tell me exactly what to do, who I was talking to, if I'd ever known them before, where I was staying, what airline, and it was all right there on that one page. Well, Jackie had said, call the shuttle for your car. Call the hotel shuttle. Well, I just called the number she told me to call. And they said, okay, you're at the airport. Well, you walk outside the airport, you cross the street, you stand on the median there, and the shuttle will pick you up. So I did exactly what the phone guy told me. I walk, and I'm standing there. Well, a shuttle comes by, and I'm talking to this other person that's standing there. We're just kind of visiting. Well, he got on the shuttle, so I just follow him. It's a shuttle. And we passed the Marriott. And I said, oh, shoot, I'm on the wrong shuttle. So I asked the kid, I said, what's your name, honey? He said, Eric. I said, Eric, where is this shuttle going? He said, it's going to the Hilton. I said, oh, man, I'm on the wrong shuttle. I was supposed to get off at the Marriott. He said, that's okay. We'll take these people to the Hilton. We'll come back, and I'll take you by the Marriott. I said, oh, thank you for being so gracious. I appreciate that so much. Well, we let everybody off. We come back and pull under the porte-cochere of the Marriott. I do not know to this day why I looked down at my paper again. And I wasn't staying at the Marriott, I was staying at the Hilton. So I said, oh my. I am so sorry, Eric, but I'm at the Hilton. He said, no problem. Of course, we're the only ones on the shuttle at this point. No problem. So I'm trying to get conversation going. You know, I said, I bet this happens a lot. He said, no. So I understood where JD was coming from. I understood that. It was perfect. And the next day, and then I taught all the next day on how to use your brain better. At some part, like at 2:30, I went to the main desk to tell them I was going to need the shuttle back to the airport. And I said, I'm staying here, but I'm going to need the shuttle. Eric came, he says, I got her. But making someone's day. Would you all stand up? Now, I want you to think of a time, and hopefully it's happened in the last 2 weeks, maybe even shorter, that somebody has done something that just kind of made your day. I want you to step out. I want you to find somebody that's not on your row, and I want you to share that. When was a time when someone made your day? Let's go. Step out, find somebody. So far, when we talk about people being powerful, we've talked about making sure our workplace is lighthearted. We don't take everything so seriously, especially ourselves. The second is if we would live by the adage of what can we do to make someone's day, it would be very, very powerful. The third that I just want to briefly mention because I'm looking at time is to make sure that we connect. It's one of my favorite words in the English language. Not only do we need our third grade connecting with our fourth grade and our sixth grade connecting with kids that are at the senior level, and not only are we talking about subjects and materials and knowledge, we're talking about people. If we just look at the whole scheme of things, connecting is very, very powerful. So just to take a minute and kind of connect right now, and we'll just take about 3 minutes to do that. What I want you to do, if you've got a purse in your lap or you've got something in your lap, I want you to empty your lap so that it's easy for you to stand and sit. I want you to keep seated right now, but it's easy for you to stand and sit. Now, I'm going to ask you if this phrase fits you, I want you to stand up and I want you to look at the other people standing around you. And we're just going to play a little connection game, okay? I want you to stand if you are married to your high school sweetheart? Would you stand up? Look at that. Awesome. 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 Thank you. Thank you. And I'm hoping this guy is pointing to his high school sweetheart because he's pointing to somebody. Okay. I'm just guessing that that's what it is, okay? Stand if you are a natural blonde. Aha! There we go. We got honest people. Thank you. Thank you. Stand if you have never had a speeding ticket. Get out. Get out. Okay, here's a good one. Now look at the people in your faculty that are standing on this one because you can have lots of fun with this one. Stand if you have no middle name. Oh, y'all could have some fun with that. You could give them some names. Thank you. Stand if you have ever been to a Rolling Stones concert. Yeah. Usually that group is obnoxious when they stand. Usually. Okay, here's another one. Stand if you've ever been to a Justin Timberlake concert. I have to tell you, I won tickets to go to Justin Timberlake. The only way I know Justin Timberlake is through I have to read a lot of esoteric magazines every week to be impressive, you know, and books. One that I read every week is called People. The reason I know Justin Timberlake is because he's in People magazine a lot. Well, anyway, I won free tickets to go to a Justin Timberlake concert. So I got my friend, and I am a very young 57. My friend is a little older than me. We were the two oldest people at the whole concert. My youngest daughter was mortified when she realized that I was sitting by somebody and I kept saying, "Is it that Sexy Back song yet?" It was all Greek to me. It was all Greek to me. But he did a good concert. Okay, now, stand if you sleep with your socks on. Oh, look around. Yes, we have them. Yes, sir. Stand if you have ever been scuba diving. Oh, look at our scuba divers. All right. Just a quick way of connecting. Anytime you're in the classroom, anytime you can use innocuous things like that for kids to connect, it's powerful. It's powerful. Sometimes whenever I'm working with a group of people, I'll see two scuba divers that didn't know they were two scuba divers, and they're back at the back and they're connecting after a little activity like this. Whatever you can do to bring people together, it makes us more powerful as a force. So being lighthearted, making someone's day, and connecting. The fourth one, make sure you keep your mind healthy, your brain healthy. Make sure it's healthy. Now, I always kind of operate off the cuff, and I know Cody was real excited about me having my speech down for today. And, you know, and so whenever he got the email last week, and he shot me an email and told me what the agenda was going to be, and I didn't get right back with him. You know, he called, and so he wanted to make sure. So I told Bobby last night, his secretary, I said, "Bobby, everything's under control." Well, I hadn't started on my speech at that point, and so I kind of had to get the feel of the crowd to kind of know what I want to do. So sometimes I'm really not formed in what I want to do. And anyway, I was asked to speak in Sherman. That's where I live. I was asked to speak at a health symposium. And if you're in Sherman, you can get to anywhere else in Sherman in probably under 10 minutes. So I didn't really start looking at what I wanted to do until 30 minutes before, because see, I still got 20 minutes, and then I got to get there, okay? And I love it when those serendipitous things happen, and I just happened to turn my computer on, And I'm talking about this in this magazine article that says 5 easy ways to keep your brain sharp. And I said, is that not just in the nick of time? You know, the nick of time. So I actually had it in my little thing, so I thought, well, I'll just use this article when I talk about keeping your brain healthy. And there were 5 things. And one of them says, chill out. Now, let me tell you this. When you are under stress, you secrete a chemical called cortisol. And if you leave that cortisol in your brain for weeks and days, or even days at a time, you're going to have some bad things happen to your brain. Doesn't that stress you out right there just to know that? Okay. So what the neurosurgeon, neuro people are telling us is every day you need to do something to chill out. Whether it's 15 minutes of talking to a friend, or if it's listening to some music, or whatever it is, what are you doing on a daily basis? And let me challenge you, when school starts, to still find at least that 15 minutes. It's not going to work if you wait to every weekend or every second weekend. You got to do something to actually chill out, to drain cortisol. That keeps this brain healthy. So that's the first thing. Number 2, focus on the future. Get you a date with a good friend for coffee next Saturday. And keep it. Not only make the date, but keep it. Have something that you're looking forward to. The brain likes that. It's very healthy. So first of all, chill out. Second, focus on the future. Third, go for a walk. Take your dog for a walk even if you don't have a dog. Whatever. Every day, do something, some sort of physical activity. It doesn't have to be strenuous, but just going for a walk. It not only helps the organs in your body and the muscles, it helps the brain. The fourth one, snack on berries. Dr. Edgerly says the darker the fruit or vegetable, and I love it when they give colors, because colors is easy for me to remember. So when you go in the grocery store, the darker the fruit or vegetable, the more healthy it is for you and your brain. So that kind of lets us know something. The fifth thing, if you want to keep your brain healthy, is learn something new. You can learn Texas Hold'em. You can start with Rosetta Stone, get you a new language going. My late husband, he did that, and my family stopped going with him to Mexican restaurants. It was so embarrassing and humiliating, I can't tell you. Hello, senor. And we hadn't even got to the venue. Oh, it was horrible. One of the best things you can do is take up dance. A lot of people with illnesses are finding out that learning the dance routines and having to think that through and then do it. I love the young ladies dancing this morning. So taking up dance. Those are 5 things. Now, would you turn to a neighbor and see if you can remember any of those 5 things? You got them down. It's be lighthearted. Make someone's day. Connecting. And what was the 4th one? Keeping your brain healthy. The 5th one, being present. You know, sometimes we're there, but we're not. And that's okay. It's okay not to be present when you're present. It's okay. But you just choose not to be. Sometimes we just do it in a reactive way. And sometimes whenever you're out there on the Little League game and the parents are out there watching and they're on their iPhone, or bless their heart, they're on their BlackBerry, and they miss the play because they're busy. Sometimes we're just not present when we need to be. I heard a minister speak many years ago, and I loved this statement, and a lot of times I have to write it down to remember it, but it was so emphatic that I just remember it. It says, whoever listens to our children will get our children. That's what makes masterful teachers. Masterful teachers listen to their children. There's nothing more euphoric than somebody to listen to you, to actually listen to you. One of these days, I'm going to write a seminar on the phenomena of touch, because I'm very fascinated with that. And I know that we live in a world where you have to be very careful with touch, because children and adults have been touched inappropriately, physically and sexually, and I'm very much aware of that. But I'm also interested in the phenomena of touch. I lost my husband 6 years ago, and it was a very tragic thing. It was very sudden. And I go back to when we were at the funeral home, me and my 2 daughters, and we were so grief-stricken, and people would come by and they would hug. Have you ever been there whenever you needed comfort? And you'd hug, and you would feel an exchange of grief simply through the power of touch. Now, how many of you, along with myself, believe that there are tests done at hospitals today that should not be done on live people? Let me see your hands. Okay. I was having one of those tests the other day, and the RN was patting me on the shoulder. And I said, oh, please do not stop patting me. She said, oh, honey, we're taught this in med school. Touch alleviates pain. I've seen that child that comes to the classroom and the test anxiety is so high that all the adrenaline and glucose is just swimming up here in this brain. They've got the knowledge, but they can't do it because we know that the anxiety is the antithesis of intelligence, and that anxiety is so high. And I've seen that master teacher that goes over and says, Ben, you're going to do good today, and you see a temporary release. Fascinating what the power of touch does. Now, my father is the 11th of 11 children born and raised in DeRidder, Louisiana. I tell people that if you want to go outside the United States without leaving the United States, go to Louisiana. Okay? Now, he has they're both deceased, but he had a much older sister named Aunt Gladys, and Aunt Gladys was married to Uncle Fred. Now, they married when Aunt Gladys was 21 and Uncle Fred was 17. Now, Uncle Fred dropped out of school when he was in the 8th grade. I've never seen him in anything but striped overalls. On Sunday, he would add a jacket. They had 5 kids that were all older than me. Bobby Fred drove a watermelon truck. Wanda Nell, Winky, I don't know what her real name is, and Arliss and Charlie. And I would go out to the homestead, and they would leave me in the pasture, scare me to death with the cows. So I'd run up to the house to tell on them, and I could either stay in the kitchen with Aunt Gladys, who was making wonderful Louisiana food of fried okra, butter beans, and cornbread, or I could go out to the front porch where Uncle Fred was sitting in his lawn chair passing out what he called pearls of wisdom. Now, when you're 15, somebody real old, over 35, is passing out pearls of wisdom, you think, they don't have a brain in their head. Lo and behold, if I'm not talking about Uncle Fred now, but he told me something that I want you to repeat. Now, I'm going to say it as if I were Uncle Fred saying it. And some of you people that don't talk like me, you're going to have to stretch a little bit because you're going to have to repeat it to your neighbor as if you too were Uncle Fred. Everybody got it? Now, would you stretch your fingertips out like this? Would you touch fingertips with the people you're sitting by? It's not a seance or anything. It's just touching fingertips. Okay? Now, I'm going to tell you something my Uncle Fred told me some 40-something years ago. I'm going to say it as if I were Uncle Fred, and then I want you to repeat it to your neighbor as if you too were Uncle Fred. Here we go. He said, Debbie, just remember, if you can touch them, you can tolerate them. Say it to your neighbor. And isn't that the truth? You think about it. You think that person doesn't have any virtue whatsoever, and you have to work with it. And go, well, maybe. Okay? So now, what I want us to do is I want us to practice what listening looks like and feels like and what it doesn't. So very quickly, would you stand up, and I'm going to give you some directions. Very, very quickly, you're going to find somebody in here that you have not talked with. You may not even know them. And you're going to grab them in a very appropriate way. So in other words, in just a moment, you're very quickly going to pair up, and then I'm going to tell you what to do. So quickly, step out, pair up, let's go. Okay, I want the person with the longer hair to be A. The person with the shorter hair to be B. So very quickly, say, I'll be A, I'll be B. Okay, What we're doing is doing a very quick exercise of what is listening and what is not listening. We're going to get the feel of it, so you'll know that for sure. B, you're going to talk to A about something that happened this summer. I'm going to time you for 30 seconds. Let me give you directions again. I haven't finished. B, you're going to talk to A about something that's happened this summer. A, do not listen. Go. Stop. Stop. Oh, y'all have done this before. I can tell. I tell. Okay, here we go. A, talk to B about something you need to do. B, do not listen. Go. Stop. Stop. Very nicely done. Very nicely. So now we've got a real quick understanding of what not listening feels like and sounds like and looks like. Because some people were talking, the non-listeners were talking to each other. You did that very well. Very well. Okay, now let's juxtapose it beside what does listening feel like, sound like, look like. B, talk to A about something you love to do that's just relaxing. Maybe you even got to take a vacation that was like that. Something you love to do that's relaxing. 30 seconds. A, listen. Stop. Stop. Very nicely done. Here we go. A, I want you to talk to B about a favorite TV show or a movie or a book. B, listen. Let's go. Stop. Stop. Very nicely done. Very nicely. Now, what I need you to do is we're going to practice two things. By the way, if I can have an active classroom of this many people, anybody can have an active classroom. You guys are awesome. You're awesome. I think one of the things that was said in the movie you expect kids to do, and they do, And I've expected y'all just to come back, and you've done it. Awesome. And that's what we just portray as teachers. We let the kids come up to our expectations, and you've done a wonderful job of that today. Now, what I want to do is I want to teach you 2 validations. We're going to practice both of them, and then you're going to choose the one you like the best. And upon leaving your new partner, you're going to validate that partner with one of these validations. Okay? So here's the first one. The first one is an Elvis validation. I want you to stand on your left leg and get your right knee a little loose. Okay? Just a little loose. You can see the kind of bounce I'm doing a little here. Okay? Now I want you to get your neck loose and your head loose. Everybody looking at me, watch me. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, practice, practice. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Now this is going to be a stretch for some of the guys, but all you have to do is do it one time, and then you can choose the Elvis validation. You don't have to do it 2 times. But the other validation is the Texas Beauty Queen validation. Okay? Everybody watch me. Oh! I can't believe it! Thank you very much. Would you all practice? Okay. Okay, now choose which one you want, validate your partner, and let's go back to our seat. This school year, I want you to leave this morning thinking about how powerful we are as a force when we come together, called McKinney ISD School, and the teachers and the support staff and the aides and the secretaries, everybody in here that makes this machine work. I want you to think about how powerful it is when we think of being lighthearted. We take our job seriously, but we don't have to take ourselves so seriously. Whenever we live by the adage of making someone's day, sometimes it's just simply make their moment. When we talk about connecting, every chance we get to make those connections. When we talk about how important it is of all people in the world, but we that work in the educational entity, to keep our brains sharp. And when we choose when the really appropriate places are when we're present. When we put all of that together and we create the environment that all of those feed into, and we create that environment in our classrooms and on our buses and in our hallways and in our cafeterias and in our nurses' station, on our athletic fields, in our boardrooms, when we create those environments that are healthy and relaxed and challenging and caring and exciting and safe and fun and nurturing and meaningful, when we create those environments, then you and I will engage children in the joy of learning. And when we can hook our children into the joy of learning, we have done the ultimate, because we have helped to create lifelong learning, because there's such joy in it. Before I turn it over to my friend, Dr. Kennedy, I want to leave you with one quote. It's one of my favorite quotes in the world. It's by Ralph Waldo Emerson. To laugh often and much, to win the respect of intelligent people and the respect of children, to earn the appreciation of honest critics and endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate beauty, to find the very best in others, to give of oneself, to leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition, to have played and laughed with enthusiasm and sung with exultation, to know that one life is breathing easier. This is to have succeeded. May you have a wonderful school year, and thank you for allowing me to be here. Thank you very much.
I want to say, I knew that Debbie Estes would do a great job for us this morning, but she even exceeded my expectations. Thank you so much, Deborah.
Words of wisdom from McKinney ISD students.
Keep doing what you do, make it good, so then every year it can be better.
Be prepared, have your best attitude the first day.
I don't know how to excite them by telling them that they're going to get 20 kids in their class that are going to drive them insane, but I guess I would say good luck.
Be calm, that's pretty good.
I think the first day you should do no work. I'm not saying that just because I don't want to do work, it's just that you just shouldn't.
Whoever's my teacher in 3rd grade at Wilmouth Elementary, I'm happy to have you. You need to get back to work now. Woohoo!
Thank you for coming back.
Go teachers.
Welcome back, teachers.
Welcome back to school.
Welcome back, McKinney ISD. Welcome back to school.
Welcome back, McKinney ISD.
Welcome back to school.
Welcome back. See you guys soon.
That's all.
This is gonna be a good life. This could really be